All right. So, as always, I'm Jennifer Davis. I am your hostess with the mostest. I got Lisa next door to me, and I've got a couple of you joining. I don't know if anybody else from the education team is going to be on tonight because everyone kind of lives in these storm areas. So, Patty, thanks for joining. I know that you've got that going on where you're at. So, and Kimberly, I see you're on, but I don't know if you're going to be joining with your camera or not. So, I just wanted to acknowledge you real quick. So tonight we're going to talk about supplements. I know that doesn't sound very exciting, but if you've heard me talk about supplements before, I make it fun, right? So we're going to talk about some cool things. But first of all, I'm a little curious, who already takes Lifelong Vitality? So some of you do. I honestly would love to hear from one of you, maybe Pam, if you're willing to share. Well, and Patty too. I want to hear from you too. What was your life before and after Lifelong Vitality? Pam, do you want to share?
Oh, I'm going to be honest and say I really can't tell a difference.
Okay.
I've been waiting for something magical to happen and it hasn't. But it's a lot of pills for me I already take pills. So I take one of each in the morning, or have been since, I guess I started in August. And then if I remember, I take another set at dinner. But starting the beginning of March, I didn't do the challenge in February, but March is when I tried to start my own personal challenge. So I've been trying to take double, because I think that's what you all recommend, is taking double. So now I'm taking 6 pills at breakfast and 6 at dinner, if I can make myself stay on track. So I don't know how long it takes to have something magical start to happen.
How long have you been on it again?
I had started buying them in August.
Okay, that's right. Well, I'll tell you, my mom, who has a lot of issues with inflammation, she started taking them and was the same thing. I don't feel any different. And then she stopped taking it. And a month later, she's like, hey, can you order me some more of that Lifelong Vitality? So I personally don't notice a ton of differences either until I stop taking it, because I'm already pretty healthy. So my plumb line is already pretty high. So I totally understand that. But I think, Patty, if I remember right, you have a really cool testimony. You want to share that with us?
Yeah, I have a little bit more energy, but the big thing for me was when I went and had my everything bio checked and all. Cholesterol was a huge plus. It helped lower my cholesterol.
That's awesome. And there's a reason for that we'll talk about, okay? So thanks for sharing. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for joining. Oh yeah, Kimberly said her internet was unstable. I think she's back up in Pennsylvania with her chickens. No, she's back down. Okay. Lisa's correcting me here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I actually have a couple of stuff up on my screen so that I can kind of refer to my notes. Otherwise, if you know me well, I'll end up going off on some tangent, and I want to make sure I stay in our time. And I want to try and stay under an hour for sure tonight. So I'm going to just minimize you guys really quick so I can see what I'm looking at. So, first I want to just talk about nutrition. This is the thing. Have you guys noticed that people are more sick all the time? I'm seeing more autoimmune disease, more inflammatory type diseases, degeneration, people feel older, younger. And then you've got this small demographic that are like in their 70s and they look like 40-year-olds. And there's a reason for that. They are getting really good nutrition. And so that's what is so important, because if we get proper nutrition, then our body systems can function better, because different minerals and different vitamins are impacting the body systems differently. So I am not a nutritionist, so I am totally not going to get into which vitamins and minerals are better for which body systems because I really don't know. Maybe someone else in here might be like, did you know this vitamin is really good for your heart? That's just not stuff that Jennifer knows. So anyway, so I want to go back to that. I joked around with somebody one time and I said, why is all the drive-throughs for the junk food and all the really good restaurants that are healthy, you can't go through a drive-through? It's not fair. So convenience starts to outweigh health. And I know I'm guilty of it. And we're all guilty of it. And you know, processed foods aren't very nutritionally dense, but they sure are easy, aren't they? I was raised on Hamburger Helper and other things like that. And so when I became an adult and I was pregnant with my first child, something just inside of me said I probably should eat better. So that was when my journey to nutritional awareness started, and I was 27. So I had 27 years of getting very little nutrition into my life. And that's the worst part because that's when I'm developing. I think there's this thing that says that the human brain isn't totally developed until you're like 26 years old. So even my brain was still developing at that age. And so that's why I'm really passionate about teaching parents or grandparents so that they can change and bring that into their younger children as they're still developing, because that's really important to get my kids to eat their vegetables, right? So let me just go into my notes really quick. Okay. The other thing that's really important about nutrition is that nutrition comes from the nutrients of the soil. So the plants that are growing in the soil, they're pulling the nutrition. I have a garden, and last year was my first year doing it, and I started to look into like the different stuff that I'm growing and which things need more nitrogen and which things need more this and that, and how important compost was and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that the food that we buy in the grocery store, the farmers are actually adding all that extra nutrition to the soil every year? No. And you know what's really interesting? Who's been to Europe or who's lived in Europe? Anybody lived in Europe? I'm the only one. I lived in Belgium for 3 years, and there is this field. What was that, Lisa?
Kimberly, but she's not speaking.
Oh yeah, Kimberly lived in Belgium with me. We lived there together. Didn't even think about that. So Kimberly, you probably remember this. The road to Chevres had this field, and it was beets. Okay, beets was their sugar product there, I think is what they did it. Yep. It says you're muted, but I can hear you. So every year they did something to those fields that was horribly smelly. Piles and piles of steaming, you know what, and they would put the nutrients back into the field. And they were really serious about that. And the other thing that I just want to point out, people that live in Europe have less autoimmune disease, less cardiovascular disease. There are less diseases. Now they have other issues, but they have less diseases, and that's because their food is more nutritionally dense. And I have friends that have like celiacs. They'll go over there and they can eat the bread because their bread harvest, their wheat and stuff doesn't have the same junk in it that we do. So eating organic is a great start because you're getting those chemicals out, but you're still lacking the nutrition. So when people ask me all the time, is organic healthier? I say it's not healthier, it's less damaging to your system. So that's kind of how I put that. Unless you are getting locally raised stuff and you know what they're doing, they're letting the land rest, maybe their chickens are out on it on a regular basis, stuff like that, then you're probably not getting that. So supplementation is really, really important. All right. And I think we all know that. So let's get into what's in Lifelong Vitality. So Pam was talking about how it's a lot of pills and they're really big. Does anybody else have trouble swallowing them? I'm getting better. I'm brave when I take that big white one. There's a reason for that. So in order for your body to absorb the nutrition effectively, we call that bioavailability. So it's available to our biology in our body. The molecules that are in the food, the whole food, when they break it down into the molecular level, those molecules are big. Some of them are. So those capsules have to be a little bit bigger because they can't break it down any smaller. And so if you see a vitamin that's got a really little pill, chances are those molecules are broken down into a synthetic version. Our body doesn't metabolize synthetics as well because it's kind of like, what is that? So, all right. So in Lifelong Vitality, there is the equivalent of 12 servings of fruit and vegetables. Not bad. I don't eat 12 servings of fruit and vegetable every day. I had a cough last week and I can start feeling it come back all of a sudden. So let's talk about what's in these. I'm actually going to screen share with you guys real quick.
Define serving.
So it's whatever your body needs, what the, I don't know who it is. It's not the FDA that determines this.
I mean, I know
The
you said
USDA,
12,
that's what I'm thinking of.
but is
They
it
determine what a serving is.
one LLV pill or 2?
Oh, a serving, so what it's designed to do is to take 4 of each every day. That's the dosage. So if you feel like you're getting, like you're eating really well and you're wanting to cut it in half, but keep in mind, all of us have different body sizes. So I personally feel very functional on half a dose. But someone who is, bigger than me or does more than me, like I'm not an athlete. My body isn't in reparative mode. I'm in preventative mode. So there you go. If you have already been diagnosed with different chronic illness that are, I like to say, lifestyle. So like cardiovascular disease, that's a lifestyle disease. And it's not, no judgment on anyone's lifestyle. Sometimes it's just wired in our DNA. So we call that epigenetics. So your lifestyle can change your epigenetics. That's all that means. So alpha CRS is the first one. This is that, it's kind of a brownish medium-sized one. And this is going to have your anti-inflammatories type of minerals and vitamins, your energy-producing minerals and vitamins that support the mitochondria production inside your cells. This is what gives you energy. So if you feel like you're really sluggish or you're, even have brain fog, sometimes it can help with that as well. Let me go back to the anti-inflammatories because I think this is really important. Does anybody take Celebrex in here? Celebrex is very specific medication for people who have inflammatory disease. So arthritis is a good example of that. Celebrex has something in it called Cox. Hang on. Kathy, were you saying something? Okay, I'm going to mute you, hon. Okay, so Celebrex has a main ingredient called Cox2 Inhibitors. So Cox2 is an enzyme, okay? Our body requires an enzyme for every single action. We need enzymes to metabolize food. We need enzymes to help digest our food, which we're going to talk about too tonight. So Cox2 is it starts the inflammatory response. We need an inflammatory response, okay? It's good for us, especially when we are exposed to maybe a virus or we injure ourselves. Like there's a reason for it. Unfortunately, our environment and the foods that we eat, lack of nutrition, causes that cycle to continue and it never stops. And that's when we experience regular chronic pain. Cox2 inhibitors inhibit that reaction of that enzyme to cut off the inflammatory cycle. So that's what that does. So for people who do have chronic pain, they experience a benefit just from taking that. How cool is that? So I don't have a ton of pain, but I did notice that when I started taking it, like my ankles didn't hurt so much and I didn't realize they were bothering me. So it was just like a little bit of pain that I had. So the other thing I noticed, I shared with you guys before, I have this toe that hurts all the time. And I started taking my vitamins regularly during the healthy challenge and my toe stopped hurting every day. Can someone do me a favor and talk about XC Omega? I need to go get more water. Lisa?
Well, let's see. I never say things the same way Jennifer does, but I know that Z Omega, I call it Zeo, she calls it Exio, is probably my favorite because it's the easiest to swallow. But it also has the omegas, the 3s, the 6s, and the 9s. In my studies, I've learned that the 9s are really, really good for you. And that apparently I have too many 6s, it is, in my body. And then the 3s, I'm not certain where they come from, but the 3s and the 9s are supposed to be the best, although you need all 3 omegas. There's times that you can just get out of balance. So, and it's also full of essential oils. There are 9 essential oils in Z Omega. And frankincense, of course, is my favorite. Very, very helpful for memory as well. I know Jennifer talks about alpha CRS and she uses can't remember stuff. And I think it has to do with what she just said, the Cox2 inhibitor. Is that what it is? Somebody help me. Somebody unmute, because you have heard Jennifer talk about Z Omega many times. Like, Nicole, I know you're in there. I'm going to find you. Let's see, where is that face? There
What was
she
the
is.
question? Because I was just looking at slides that I had from a webinar that Justin did, and I was trying to look at some stuff there about the Z Omega, because he had a lot of good information about it.
Yes, please, please share. The thing that I was asking though is frankincense is in Z Omega and it's also very beneficial for our memory. So I was wondering, because she said CRS stands for can't remember stuff. Do you have a little note on what that was about?
About the alpha CRS, why it helps
Yeah.
with that?
Yes.
It actually means cellular regenerative system.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's really, it's just a joke when I say can't remember stuff.
Oh, okay. Because I was thinking there must be something in there, and there
Well,
must.
it has
be
ginkgo biloba, so that supports your mental clarity and energy. So that's a
Thank
huge
you.
ingredient.
Excellent. Okay. Go ahead, Nicole. I know she's back, but I want to hear your Justin notes, if that's okay with Jennifer.
Oh, I don't know if I can share my screen, but I thought maybe you guys would enjoy seeing the slides because you had some good slides and I had a bunch of screenshots. So
Hang
I
on a
thought
second.
like I could share them and Jennifer could even go through them. I don't care, but I thought they were kind of.
Hang on. I just muted you, Nicole. Nicole, does it let you share your screen? Lisa, you have to give her screen sharing ability. You're actually the host.
So share screen, is it right next to that?
Yep, next to her name.
Okay, try it now, Nicole.
Yep, got it.
Yay.
Okay. Do you see it? Do you just see that one window, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this was the first screenshot that I took of his thing, and you can, I mean, I don't know how you want to do it. You can read through it, Jennifer. I'm basically just going to read through them. So if you want to
You
just
do
go
it.
through them. Okay. All right. So Lisa was just talking about how the omegas are good for our brain. So this is just illustrating why, because 80% of our brain and 70% of the myelin sheath are fatty acids. So we need those fatty acids for our brain function. They're actually something that, like when you're pregnant, they tell you that you need to take for your babies to develop their brain as well. So it says most of us are deficient in omega-3 fatty acids unless we're eating a large diet of seafood and or land-based omega-3 products. So here is just a description of why it's called Z-omega. The X stands for astaxanthin, which is a standardized extract of microalgae used in the Z-omega formula. The EO stands for essential oils, because like Lisa said, there's 9 essential oils in the omegas. And then the mega represents the omegas that it has in this complex. So here it says, the description of this is marine and plant essential fatty acids. There is a vegan one, but this is the one that comes in the standard lifelong vitality. And so this has the fish oil, the EPA, DHA from fish oil, and then it has no pesticides, so you don't have to worry about heavy metals either, which is a concern with fish oils. And then it has pomegranate seed oil, which I didn't know, and then other fatty acids from ichium seed. I'm saying that right, but that's that. And then here just talking about where they get the fish oil that's used in the Z-omegas. It's ultra filtered fish oils, top quality oils from fishing waters in Peru, and it's tested for over 250 contaminants and certified sustainable, so friend of the sea. So that's awesome. And these are the 9 essential fatty acids in the Z-omegas. So Lisa said frankincense. There's also wild orange, thyme, ginger, cumin, caraway, and clove. And then carotenoid antioxidants. You have the astaxanthin that we mentioned earlier that comes from green algae, lutein that comes from the marigold flower, zeaxanthin from marigold flower, and lycopene from tomato fruit. So that is also chock full of antioxidants. And then you also get vitamin A in there from alpha and beta carotene. So this is describing the benefits of astaxanthin that we just said comes from the green algae. So you're going to get circulatory antioxidant protection. It passes the blood-brain barrier. You get muscle strength and endurance. It supports immune function and then cognitive function, so that brain fog. So this also could be called can't remember stuff because it's going to help with that brain fog.
Hey, I want to insert a comment really quick. Go back to that slide if you can.
Sure. This one?
Yeah, so not just this particular ingredient, but just the fact that it mentions circulatory antioxidant protection. So antioxidants are molecules that protect that fight other molecules that have gone bad. And without lots of antioxidants, those bad molecules wreak havoc on your body. And so those antioxidants are really important. So every essential oil has some level of antioxidants in them. And our vitamins are packed full of antioxidants as well as our other nutritional products. But one of the things I really want to point out is circulatory antioxidant protection. Without that, we end up with cardiovascular issues. Our cardiovascular system, our circulatory system, is what carries nutrition to the body systems. So if that's not working well, the rest of the body isn't getting what it needs, which means the vitamins that you're taking, those other cheap stuff from the grocery store, isn't doing its job. It just goes through the digestive tract. So I just wanted to point that out. When they created these vitamins, they created it so intelligently with every box checked to make sure it gives our body what it actually needs.
That's great. So the key benefits, just to reiterate, so like what Jennifer said, promotes healthy cardiovascular, nervous, and immune system function, supports healthy joint function and comfort, protects against lipid oxidation, and supports healthy function of the brain, eyes, and nervous system, and promotes healthy skin. I think that's the last slide of that. Yeah. I just wanted to mention one more thing. Just because we're talking about supplements and stuff. So when I was pregnant with my last child and I was working with a midwife and I was taking like a prenatal vitamin, you know, you're supposed to take prenatals because they just say you're supposed to, so you do. And I was talking, this might be a little TMI, so we're all women here. So I'll just, when I went to her, oh, it is? Well, it's not that TMI.
So
I told
dial
her,
down the TMI.
it's not that TMI.
Okay.
Anyways, I told her that like when I went to the bathroom, my urine was really yellow, and I was like, "Is that normal? Is that healthy?" And so she told me, "Well, that just means that like the vitamins, you're getting a lot of vitamins in some of your body. Those are the vitamins your body can't process." And so I've heard people talk about lifelong vitality and say you're not going to pee out the vitamins like you will with synthetics. But also I think with this, I've noticed that when I didn't start doing, so I take a half a dose like Jennifer does, but I used to just take it all in one shot, like in the morning. And I noticed that like my urine was yellow sometimes and I was like, maybe like, but I just didn't think about it. You know, I would notice it. But now when I do separate, my body's able to absorb better because I'm smaller, so I don't need as much. So I was taking too much and my body didn't need it all at once. So when I separate it out and I do morning and afternoon, I don't have that anymore. And so I know that like my body's absorbing it better. So that's why it's good to like pay attention to that and also take the 2 doses. And that's why doTERRA recommends that you separate it out, 1 in the morning and like 1 with lunch.
Right. And I love that you pointed that out because when you do pee out like that, well, number one, you do need water. So I'm saying don't drink less water, but sometimes, and I've made this mistake, I drink a lot of water with my vitamins because I am trying to get them down. I need more water to get some of those bigger ones down. So I've gotten better to where I don't need so much, but it's going to flush through your system a little bit faster. So they don't have a chance to really absorb the way they're supposed to when you get too much water in your system. But it's the vitamin B12 that actually does that. And it just means that you're not absorbing the vitamin B12 as much as that you should. So I'd have to do a Google search to find out what B12 is good for, but that's usually the culprit on that one. So we at least can have a little bit of, comfort to know it's not all the vitamins, it's just the one. So thank you, Nicole, for sharing that so much. I actually lost my voice last week and I was kind of wondering if I would start coughing tonight. So thank you for jumping in. Hopefully I'll be fine, but you guys can always jump in too. Does there any information about the microplex for you to share?
Before you go there, can you hear me? Not sure
Yes.
if I unmuted myself. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to go back to one of the things about the omega-6s, because I was sharing with the ladies that when I went and got tested, I had too many in my body. And it's due to having been raised in the Western culture with our Western diet. So when you have too much omega-6, it causes inflammation, which once again is the root of disease. So I have to work harder. That's why I love lifelong vitality, because it's balanced. But I also have to add more 3s, which is that heavy seafood stuff into your diet so that you're balanced out and you can work against inflammation in your body. So just wanted to share that. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. And I need to say something else because Patty talked about her cholesterol going down. So first of all, I just want to point out that lifelong vitality doesn't, bring that down. What actually is happening, your cholesterol is elevated because your toxic load is elevated. When you have lots of toxins running through your bloodstream, it causes your, again, I'm not a nutritionist. There is a certain type of thing that your body produces, gosh, it's just like leaving my brain. I'm picturing that commercial with the little guys like running through the blood vessels. But anyways, so your body produces more of the bad one to help get rid of the toxins. So if we can add the good one through the XC omega, it's going to combat that little bad guy that's running through there. So that's why it helps to lower things like cholesterol. It's actually just supporting what your body is supposed to be doing already. And so a lot of people do. So I just want to point out, if you're taking Lifelong Vitality and you're on medication like statin drugs, or you're on high blood pressure medication or stuff like that, don't ignore your doctor visits. Even if you're feeling better, you want to make sure you're getting those regular checkups, because if your numbers are starting to look better, you want to make sure that they're bringing down that medication as well, instead of giving you the higher doses. So that's really important to know. And I will say, it is the number one thing that we have that people take that gets them off those medications, because it is supporting the body so well. And if you've read any information on statin drugs, they are really, really harmful to your body systems. So if we can get people off those, that would be amazing, by giving the body what it needs. So, all right. So Nicole, do you want to continue what you're doing and talk about the other one, the microplex?
Sure, I can go through what slides I have and see what's here.
Yeah.
So the microplex VMZ, I was sharing that the microplex stands for micronutrient complex, and then the V and M are vitamins and minerals, and the Z actually means that they made improvements to the original product. So they added on the Z, which is really cool. You know, doTERRA is always improving their products and their formulas with science as it comes out. You know, for instance, like the Digestion, they revamped that one. I don't know, did they release it yet, the new one? I can't remember. I don't think they did yet, but they talked about that they have one in the works. So, okay, so this is what's in our microplex VMZ complex. So there's enzymes in there to aid in digestion and help with the absorption of the nutrients in the formula. So these are all the enzymes in there. It's a lot. And then there's a blend of essential vitamins, antioxidants, vitamins A, C, and E, more antioxidants for you, an energy complex of B vitamins, and natural vitamin D for enhanced bioavailability. And then there's a balanced blend of essential minerals. So you have all these minerals, the vitamins and minerals that you need. And then there's a few, there's the Tummy Tamer blend in there. You get the peppermint, ginger, and caraway seed extracts. So they put that in there because sometimes people have, vitamins don't sit well with certain people. So that just helps them to not give you a tummy ache or something. I like to take my vitamins with food, so they sit better for me that way too. But some people, it doesn't bother them, so you can take them on an empty stomach. You just have to figure out if that's you or not. I prefer food. I can do it on an empty stomach, but I prefer food.
That's what I started doing, because I was actually not taking my vitamins for that reason, because I don't normally eat until 11. That's my first meal of the day. But now I'm taking them before I leave the house before 8, and they don't bother me at all. You can taste them though.
Yeah, that's usually like they start to come up a little bit. So like if I take it with food, it's better.
I don't know what it is. I think it's the caraway I'm tasting. I'm not really sure.
I don't know either. I just know I prefer not to taste it. So I do it with food.
So yeah.
So there's a glycoprotein matrix that they use in this formula. So that's what makes it so bioavailable. They take the nutrients and then they put them on yeast, and they become a protein matrix, which makes it so our bodies actually can absorb it better, because it makes it recognize it as like a whole food. And then we can absorb it and use it in our bodies.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I think it's pretty groundbreaking what they've done for that.
It is.
So the microplex VMZ food nutrient complex, these are the key benefits. It provides us with 22 bioavailable essential vitamins and minerals for healthy cell function, supports healthy metabolism and cellular energy, fights free radicals with more antioxidants of the vitamins A, C, and E, supports a healthy immune function, and supports healthy digestion. So overall benefits are really high for that one. That's where you're getting most of those vitamins and minerals. So that's all on that one. And then this is just a slide about all of them. So when you take all three, you're getting all these benefits.
Yeah.
That's how doTERRA recommends that you take them, all three together. I believe that you can buy it as a 2-pack. I don't remember what comes.
Yeah,
in a
it's called
2-pack.
the Daily Nutrient Pack.
That's without the alpha CRS, right? It's just
It
the
is.
two.
The people that would take that one, a good example would be a younger person who has lots of energy and no inflammatory issues.
Okay.
That would be that person. That is not me. So I like to take the alpha CRS. So
Yeah.
I do want to point out a couple things. So these seem like really superficial, vain reasons to take lifelong vitality, but it's usually the first thing you notice before it goes a little bit deeper. But for me, I noticed my skin is better. So I started going through, I think, a midlife crisis in the last year because I noticed like the wrinkles on my face when I smiled, they stayed. And my skin just seemed so dry, even though I was using my Virage, and my curls were kind of like, my nails were okay. And it's like in the last 2 months, I've been really consistent with my vitamins. My skin is improving. My nails are growing and not breaking off. And honestly, I filed them like 2 weeks ago and they're still good. My curls are better. Like everything is just better. And honestly, that's, I think, amazing when you see those kinds of results really, really quickly. It makes you feel good about yourself. So that's why I just really want to encourage. I remember when my mom was taking it, I remember her gray hair looked so pretty. It was like a shiny, shimmery gray or, silver. So it's just stuff like that. Have you guys noticed anything like that from it? The difference in your skin tone, your nails? Yeah. The nails are usually pretty fast to experience. And that's because those things do require vitamins and minerals in order to do its job. So I'm in the hair salon. The products that we use in here are all organic and they have essential oils in them. And I did a lot of research on them to see if the essential oils were good quality because, that's important to me. And they are. And so I've been learning a lot about essential oils in hair and all that kind of stuff too since I've been working here. And it's really interesting. And one of the things that I think is really cool is that here we give people a hair treatment plan. And then I get to partner in the nutritional information that I'm teaching you guys to talk about like how important that is. So this is healthy. So we get to partner that. So that's why it can be very holistic in nature. So, all right. Who has questions about lifelong vitality? Nobody? So I wasn't going to go into a lot tonight because Lisa next week is going to talk even more about the other supplements. So she's going to talk about, so Nicole has something, but hang on a second. So I wanted to give Lifelong Vitality the spotlight tonight. So next week she could give the spotlight to Terrazyme, Zendocrine, PBS6, GX Assist, so that you guys can understand what those do. But before she gets into that, I just wanted to give a really solid foundation. She's going to talk about cleanse. When we think of cleanse, we think of like uncomfortable things that are happening in our digestive system that make us uncomfortable. The whole goal of the way we teach people to do a cleanse is to make it comfortable. And the foundation for that is lifelong vitality. I highly encourage people to be taking that for at least a month before they start the other things. Because the reason why is because when we do a cleanse, our body starts dropping free radicals like crazy. What fights free radicals? Antioxidants. Kimberly's like, I know. So antioxidants, and it opens up and helps our body systems work better because of all the nutrition in them. And so I don't know that Lisa's going to talk about this specifically, but the cleanse is designed to open the chimneys so that we eliminate toxins more effectively. So the vitamins don't cleanse us. They just help our body open up so we do it on its own. So I'm going to let Lisa go into it more next week in the wellness webinar. It's Friday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. So if you guys have noticed, the emails that I send out on continuing education includes the wellness webinar education as well. So I'm sending replays out every week for those that are missing it. And I am, even though some of the videos we're not posting publicly on YouTube, if you have a friend that you want to slip that into their inbox, their email inbox, go ahead and do it. Just don't post it on social media because you'll get us all in trouble. We're like totally like top secret right now, right? So clearly this one will not be public because we're letting you have all of our secrets and I'm still recording. So anyways, so I just wanted to bring attention to that. So Lisa, do you have anything else to add about the wellness webinar for next week?
It's just going to be lots of fun. We're going to talk about DIY things, practical things. We want to introduce people who have never heard about oils. If any of you ladies have friends that you want to bring, we try to make it fun. We do giveaways and we just have a really good time. I let Miss Science Gal do the heavy lifting and I do the fun stuff when you come to my webinar. Not that Jennifer's not fun. She's
What
fun.
are you saying, Lisa? Actually, I just want to say, Nicole, you brought a lot of value in tonight. Thank you. Because my voice was kind of like sketchy there for a little bit. But that was really good. If you guys don't know, Justin Harrison was one of the very first wellness advocates with the company. Okay. So he helped Dr. Hill, come up with the AromaTouch technique. He was the demo that laid on the table a million times until they figured it out. So he's a really amazing educator. Kimberly, did you have something to say? And I think Nicole, you raised your hand too.
Justin's webinars are starting up next week, Tuesday through Saturday. If you, I'll send Pam and Karen the link for that. You just register and you can watch the replays, but they're only available for 48 hours because he shares a lot of stuff that's not compliant and he doesn't want it out on the internet for too long. So again, he's a really good deep dive. I know you guys love education because you show up every week. So that's terrific. And you would love Justin webinars. So I'll get you that link and you can get his emails as well.
Yeah, for sure. And Kimberly, you want to just send that to me and I'll make sure I include it in our email that goes out.
Sure.
So everybody can see it. Nicole, did you have your hand up a little bit ago?
Yeah, I was just going to say that when we had, I don't remember what it was. We were talking about lifelong vitality when Hannah was on once. And we were talking about how, you just said that the lifelong vitality doesn't cleanse you, but sometimes when someone goes from I think it's mostly someone who's not probably eating well, so their body has a high toxic load, and they start taking it and they're probably not drinking enough water either, that they do tend to have, instead of feeling the increased energy, they actually feel kind of bad. And Hannah was saying that it's a mild cleansing of our body, and she recommended having them take charcoal with it once or twice when they feel bad. I don't know what you would say to that because you just said it doesn't cleanse you. So I'm wondering what you think about when someone takes it and doesn't have that immediate, they start actually feeling worse before they feel better, which is common when you cleanse in general, for everybody here. It doesn't know that. Sometimes you feel worse before you feel better, and that's just normal because your body is putting out those toxins, and lots of times that happens because you haven't opened up those chimneys. You haven't done the steps first so that your body can release them. So it's kind of like you're punishing yourself because it doesn't have anywhere to go.
Well, and you make a good point, the importance of water. For someone who has a negative experience with it, we always suggest dropping it down to, just the one capsule of all three a day, and then working your way up. But I do want to point out something. There are a lot of ingredients in Lifelong Vitality. So actually I want to show you guys something real quick. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see this for yourself. So I am on the doTERRA website, okay, right here. I'm looking at Lifelong Vitality, like I'm going to add it to my shopping cart. If you go down, there's this thing called a PIP, that's a product information page. It's going to tell you everything that's in it. So double check those ingredients. Actually, that's not what I wanted. Hang on a second. It is, oh, you know what? I know why I can't see it. I'm not logged in. So normally when you're logged in, there's actually another thing that shows you the ingredients, okay? I was looking at the non-logged in version. Anyways, it shows you all the ingredients. Just double check it and make sure there's not something that you're allergic to. I have had a handful of people have a reaction or an uncomfortable experience because there was something in they're allergic to, which is really disappointing. But sometimes we're able to combat that with some Terrazyme. So we'll let Lisa talk more about Terrazyme next week. All right. Well, that's all I have for you guys tonight. Any questions? I'm going to unclick record.
We missed you, Kathy.